Okay, we're going live, and I'm glad for that. And, and entering into the living Torah of Rav Kook. And we're at Parshat Balak and Bilam, and we know the basic story that Balak, the king, uh, felt quite threatened and afraid that Israel was coming, and he commissioned Bilam, the prophet, the magic doer, and to curse Israel. And Bilam, it's a whole dance, but Bilam gives 4 visions that at 4 different settings. And from those visions, we really learn a lot about who Israel is and what we're to be. And but first, let's understand where Bilam and Balak are from, as it were. And for that, the Zohar identifies that Bilam and Balak were from the root souls of Amalek. They are directly connected to Amalek, and both Bilam and Balak hated the Israelites more than any other nations. And we see that the last 2 letters of Balaam is spelt Bal-Am, and the last 2 letters are Aleph Mem, and the last 2 letters of Balak's name is Lamed Kuf, and their 2 names make is Amalek. Amalek is derived from both of them, and they're both expressions of Amalek. And then the Zohar brings this verse that is one of Balaam's visions, that he didn't see any iniquity, Avel, and he didn't see any Amal, perverseness in Israel. God is with him. And it gives us some more, it makes, we'll skip this, but here's an interesting thing. It says that Israel has the aspect of 4 faces. What does that mean? We are Jacob and Israel and Rachel and Leah. Israel and Leah are male and female. Jacob and Rachel are also male and female. And they are represented to the 4 faces of the eagle of the holy throne that represents Yaakov at the central column, and it's might be related to Ezekiel's vision. But we see something here very nice, the balance, male and female, and it's part of the holy throne. So Amalek also has 4 faces that reveal its essence, and those are Kesem, and these words are actually from the Torah. Kesem, magic, they use like spells, and the word Kesem, the first letter Kuf, the letter Kaf, and Sam El, the minister of the negative side. But these are the 4 faces of Amalek that are presented to the world historically. One is through Kesem, some magic, Nachash, snake, everything that a snake represents, Amal, toil and really putting on burdens. And of course, the first Amal is the first three letters of the name Amalek. And then it's also the Aven. Those are the four tools that Amalek, four present ways Amalek presents himself in history against Israel. Aven, inequity. The chiefs that came of Esav were the whole system of Esav that was, controlling the Jews for such a long time. They were from the roots of Amalek. And so these are the four things. And that's quite interesting to see. And then, okay. So now let's go, now that we understand that this is really Amalek stepping in, and of course Amalek is a major part of the story, certainly the punchline of the story. But these are faces of Amalek coming into the world that want to destroy Israel, and both of them are very much, they're anti-Zionists, anti-Semites, and Bilam is apparently a true messenger of God, because he said, I'd love to do it. Believe me, I really want to do it, but I can't do it just because you tell me to. I can only do what God tells me to do. I can, Hadavar asher yasim Elohim bepi, oto adaber. It's what Elohim puts in my mouth. And so this is wonderful now, because now we see, well, what does Elohim put in his mouth? And there are four visions where Elohim put words in his mouth. And let's look quickly at each one. So we just integrate them and also read them with the tremendous blessing that is described here. Here is the person who most spiritually and physically, Balak represented the physical force, Bilam the spiritual, and this is what actually God wants him to know, and even more important for us to know. And it's who we are and what it's all about. And then if we look at each of the four statements, the first one is 23:9. Good. And here he is, Mirosh Tzurim Herenu. I am seeing them from the mountaintops, Umigvaot Ashurenu, and gazing upon them from the heights. And what I see is, Heil Am Levadad Yishkon. They're a nation dwelling, and Yishkon has all the roots of Shechina, also alone with the Shechina. Ubegaim lo yitchashav. And it's not, they're not interacting with the nations in the sense, their relationship is with the Creator. And who mimana afar Yaakov? Who could possibly count the dust? And dust is all over mispar et rova Israel, a number the It's ultimately the huge numbers. and and here he says, here's the greatest hater of Israel saying, man, tamot nafshi mot yesharim. I wish I could, rather than being this evil guy, I could die the death of the righteous, the death of Israel, Yashar, and that my afterlife will be like theirs. I want my life to be like theirs. He wants to be part of Israel. So that's the first thing. And basically one way of understanding it is that here in the first one, they're describing how what a good state Israel is in. It's ultimately living in a divine presence. So then in the second time, he said, well, come on, I brought you to curse my enemies. So what are you doing? So I said, well, I just told you, but let's go to another place. And then he said, well, what did God tell you in this place? And he said, well, look, kum balak ushma, rise up, Balak, and listen. Ha'azina adai benot zipor. Hear what I'm saying. God, lo ish el, God isn't a person, ve'yichazev, who can disappoint, who ben adam ve'yitnachem hu. It's not a human to be capricious, a mortal to have a change of heart. Amar ve'lo ya'aseh, that God will say something and it won't be. And of course, he's referring to all the promises of the covenant to Abraham. And I guess now, even more that they've had this encounter with God in the desert. And here it's that same Adonai Elohim speaking to him. So, he says, listen, if God said that he'll say something and not do it, Diber, he won't speak something and he won't fulfill it, bring the Dibur into Davar. So my message, I came here when God told me to bless them. And when God blesses, I can't reverse that. I can only bless them because, and this is what the vision part of it, their nature is, lo hibit aven beYaakov. I didn't see any aven in Yaakov. And notice that was one of the names of faces of Amalek, aven. Velo ra'a amal beIsrael. And I didn't see any woe, any toil in Israel. They were living well off. And Amal was another face of Amalek. Adonai Elohim, God, his Elohim is with him. Utruat melech bo, and within him is the call of the sovereign. They're speaking in the name of God. He's blasting in the name of God. He's the Truat melech. And bo, and it also, it means that he's committed to living in response to God's call, which is, living peacefully and good and all of that, but living holiness. And you know what? They're very powerful because this God that took him out of Egypt. I mean, we all heard the stories. It came over the newspapers, however they heard, but something had happened. These people suddenly enslaved out of Egypt, and then all that. Well, that El who took them out of Egypt, ketoafot re'emlo, they're like his horns of the wild ox. They're God's attacking animals. And there is lo Nachash beYaakov, and Nachash was the other face of Amalek, velo kesem beIsrael, and that was the other kesem. Now, no, I don't even know what the word augury means here, but nachash is duplicity and snake sneaking up and whatever everything snake can mean. It can mean a lot of things, but it's another face of Amalek. But Yaakov is not even controlled by it, and Kesem doesn't affect Israel. The only thing you have to ask, Ka'et Amar Yaakov, Ule Israel, Ma Pa'al El? What's God doing? That's that's their that's who they're dancing with. That's who they're alive with. And this El, but it's the same El that took out Egypt and did all those terrible things. I mean, this is a powerful El that is with them. And because they have that power, Hein Am Kelavi Yakum. They rise like a lion. And this is the name of the current campaign. Am Kelavi. Yakum. Uke'ari Yitnasa. And it will leap up like a lion. Lo Yishkav Ad Yochal Teref. It will not rest until it destroys its enemy completely. Literally until it's feasted on its prey. But here it's like blowing up every tunnel. V'dam chalalim yishteh, and they'll drink the blood of their stained. They'll have to do whatever it takes for tzedek and mishpat in the world against the evil. They got the power to do it, and they got the guts to do it. They can be bloodthirsty, from my perspective. I mean, it's not real bloodthirsty, but it's a powerful image. So we see in the second vision, it talks about the power of Israel. The first one talked about the nature of Israel, and here it talks about the power of Israel. And then we go to the third vision, which takes place in 24:3. And this is what there is for us to learn, that we have that power. We are that power.
Can I mention that Nachash is also the root of the word, when we say in modern Hebrew, menachesh, it means to guess, that we shouldn't even do that.
Yeah, I think there's, yes. So now the third vision, and there in this one, Bilam put his eyes and he saw Israel, shochein lishvatav, sitting in their encampments, V'tehi alav ruach Elohim. And then the Spirit of God came upon Bilam. I wanted to read it, and then ruach Elohim over shochen lishvatav, but I think Israel is feminine. But in every case, he's seeing Israel sitting there in their camps, complete, full, peaceful. And then I said, well, listen, this is what I have to say. I'm the person who's, I can only say what I see. I can only speak what God, Imre El, that which God has given me the vision. And my eyes are open. I have a revelation of the eyes. And the revelation is, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. How good are your dwelling places, your tents. And the tents is like mobility. And Yaakov, and then when you finally come to your dwelling place, Mishkan, as Israel, the nation of Israel, in the Beit HaMikdash, your Mishkenotecha Israel, and Kenachalim Natyuka Gonat Alei Nahar, like palm groves that are stretching out like gardens beside a river. You know what a luscious vision it is here? It's this. He's talking about the state of Israel is going to look like this: palm groves stretching out, gardens beside a river. Nata Adonai ke'arazim, like aloes planted by God. Alei mayim, cedars beside the water, just lush and growing. Yazal ma'im midalyav, their boughs will drip with moisture. V'zar'o b'mayim rabim, and their seed, their roots will have abundant waters. So all this until now is about how good it is will be in the land of Israel. And I'd like to say, Baruch Hashem, where we've got this happening. And now he takes, with that nation, with that fruitfulness, boy, are they going to make trouble for the bad guys. Veyarom mi Agag Malko, they'll get higher, they'll rule over Agag, the ruler, they're a ruler, the ruler of Israel rule over Agag, and Agag, Agag and Magog, I mean, it's a representation.
No,
We can follow it up.
Agag is the king of the Amalekites.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Rashbam says that Agag is the name of every Amalekite king.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Is that and is Agag named in the Tanakh as?
Yes, he is the king that Saul was told not to spare any of the Amalekites, and he is the king that he lost the kingdom because he spared from false sympathy. He spared Agag, and so it was left to Shmuel to hew him with one stroke. So yes, it's mentioned in Melachim.
Excellent, thank you. So we will rise above Agag, v'tinaseh malchuto, and our kingdom will be exalted. Everything that implies that El Motzio Mitzrayim, the God who took us out of Egypt, Ketoafot Re'emlo, we will be like the horns of the wild fox for God. Yochal Goim Tzarav. We will consume the nations, the Tzarav, I guess, is the enemy nations. And this is all quite encouraging, considering how much attack we're in all the time from the Agag supporters. Gog and Magog is the final resolution with Agag and things like that. So this God is for them like the horns of the wild ox, and Yochal Goim Tzarav. They will consume the enemy nations. V'atzmotehem yigarem. They'll crush their bones. V'chitzav yimchatz, and smash their arrows. Keroa shachav. They are crouching, lying, ka'ari, like a lion, ukelavi, and like a lioness. Mi yakimeno, who dares rouse them? Because once you rouse them, man, you're finished. Mevarechecha So I guess now he's speaking directly to Israel. Mevarechecha Baruch. Those who bless you are blessed. The Orarecha Arur, and those who curse you, like Balak here, and I'm trying to curse you as well. I'd like to, but I can't say it because you're not cursed. Orarecha Arur, all who curse you are cursed. So that's the very good news about the level of power of Israel. And then finally comes the punchline, where they said, "Oh, forget it, just get out of here." He said, "But before I leave, I just want to say one more thing. I'm going to say this. You don't have to put up 7 altars, nothing, no fancy things. I'm just going to say this right out, because all the other ones they set up 7 altars, the sacrifice, made a big ritual out of God speaking to him." He said, "Well, there's one more thing God, that God wants me to tell you. Uh, I want to advise to you what this nation is going to do to your nation at the end of history, like in our times. This is what's going to happen, what they're going to do to you." And then he starts. Again, he goes into his trance space, the word of Bilam, whose eye is true, the word of the one who is hearing God's speech, who is obtaining his knowledge from Most High, beholding visions from El Shaddai, my eyes unveiled. Er'enu velo ata. And what I see is not going to happen now. This is later, the end of time, the end of history. Ashurenu, what I behold, velo karov. It's not going to be soon. It's going to take a while. Like whatever year this was, it was like 3,000 years ago, the
Yes.
desert. But at some point, Darach Korav Miyakov, a star will rise from Jacob, Vekam Shevet Mi Israel, and a scepter will come forth from Israel. And you could also read, maybe you could read that otherwise as well, Kam Sheva. But in every case, there's going to be the power of Yaakov and Ishmael is going to come forth. And what it will do, Umachatz Pa'atei Moab, will smash the brow of Moab, Vekarkar Kol B'nai Shet, and the foundation of all the children of Seth. And I guess Amalek also comes from that world of the children of Seth. The Edom, who have been the enemies who asked Amalek, "Listen, I can't do it, but can you please dedicate yourself to killing Israel?" Edom, Esau, Edom will become your possession. And Haya Yerisha Seir, and Seir, a possession of its enemies. Oivav, Seir Oivav, Israel Osecha. In every case, Israel Osecha. Israel is triumphant. A Yered mi Yaakov, victory descends from Jacob. Ve'evid Sarid Meir, and it destroys whatever remnant is left. And then the good news is finally he sees Amalek, and he says, "Well, Amalek, he was the first of the nations. He started the anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism business. He was the first, the leading nation, and we're all Hasidim of Amalek. Acharito adei oved. He'll be completely destroyed forever." And then he relates to the other people around, the Kenites and that and that. And then it's interesting here only because in this part it does seem where it says, "Who can survive except God that wills it? Ships will come from the quarter of Kittim, and they're subject. It seems to be that this is describing wars between these nations, and they'll be fighting each other and so on. But so that's the very good news. The very good news that this is what our history is, and what we are to do. And given the events of this week in Israel, and really the events of the last number of years, and and the more I learn about Israeli history, the events of many different years, the I would imagine if Bilam would look from a distance from that high place in Israel, he might see, he will definitely see the great power. He'll definitely see, but won't necessarily see the living alone in tranquility, between themselves in tranquility. And when I saw on the reports of what happened yesterday, where and physical fighting between the Chilonim and the Haredim in Arad and other places as part of that whole event that took place, and saw and have come to understand that a lot of that is being driven by, it's rabbinically driven. It's the leaders of those communities, and the main one is the Ger Hasidim in this case. And the Ger are the strongest, most richest, largest Hasidic group, and they're very well. The Imre Emet, he spoke here with Rav Kook. He met with Rav Kook, and he was very amazed, and he really understood who Rav Kook was. But Ger, in any case, have really that, and they're the whole political thing, and it's become. And then I see the leadership. I see what happens in the Knesset. Everybody's screaming at each other, and it's and. So I say to myself, it's a great blessing that we have Bilam to give us a picture of who we truly are. I think that it's also a great blessing that we have Rav Kook, who certainly is the Jose, the visionary of our time, and the people who were here around him, with him, felt we don't know what Nevuah is, but he is in touch with a level of perception that is in that world. And Rav Kook and the Nazir very much were about developing, opening Ruach HaKodesh and as the stepping stone to Nevuah. So, and one of the places where Rav Kook's vision, and it started from a young age. It wasn't, I mean, when he came to Israel, it expanded in every way that it expanded. But I want to offer a selection from a poem that it's a 27 verse poem. We're going to read 13 or 14 of them. And he wrote it around 1900, before he came to Israel. And it's really has been since then and continues to be speaking to Israel and its leadership. And I would like to suggest that if he would look at Israel now, this is what Elohim would ask him to say. And the magic machine gave me a running translation and then because this is a 27 poem in complete rhythm and rhyme. And I'm sure I've read it to you with you before, but it's worth reviewing because it's so relevant. And I haven't heard anything more direct and clear that needs to be said to the rabbis, the rabbinic leadership, and the political leadership of Israel. And it's called El Chiki Shofar. I want to take to my palate a shofar. I'm raising up a shofar, and I want to read it to you. I'll read the Hebrew and then go back to the English, because the Hebrew you'll get the rhyme, and it's right. We'll do it 4 lines. But here, this is really Rav Kook crying out, calling out to the world, to the Jewish world. El Shiki Shofar Bekol Ariyah. Mi li me'ami oznayim kashuvot. Meri sechi eshpoch tlunati ashmiya. Ashmiya ta'anati lanefashot ahuvot. To my palate I raise the shofar, and with my voice I cry out loud. Who is with me of my people? Whose ears are listening? I must pour out the bitterness of my complaint, the bitterness. I must pour out the bitterness and make my tlunati ashmiya. I have to make my complaint heard. Tluna in modern Hebrew is the complaint. Ashmiya ta'anati lenefashot ahuvot. I want to call out, to make my lament heard to all the beloved souls. Verse 1. לנפושות האהובות, בנות עמי הרם, ההולכות וטועות במגרש החיים, לצורותיהן האיומות שגדלו קיים והולכות וגדולות עד חוג השמיים. I want to make my voice heard to my beloved souls, the children of my exalted people, who are going forth and wandering and making mistakes in the field of life. To all your dreadful troubles that are growing like the ocean, and they're going and growing and reaching to the heavens. To all your dreadful troubles which are growing like the ocean, spreading like the ocean, and reaching 1900. Mi li yiten kol כהמון ימים שעונם, אזעק וישמע עד קצות הארץ, ישמעו פלגות עמי וכל עמונם, וכל פונים לעברם לפרוץ פרץ. Who will give me a voice that can roar, Hamon Yamim V'Shonam. Me will give me a voice that I can roar like the crashing seas. I want to scream out and be heard to the ends of the earth. and be heard by all the divisions, all the parties, all the camps of my people and all their multitudes, and all who are ponim le'evrav, who are turning towards, I guess, their side, breach upon breach. But to all the different groups, I want to call out to all the different divisions and encampments. You know how many parties are going to run in the Israeli elections? מי לי ייתן ערבות ידיים, כי אורך הקשת בענן ימדו, אחבק נפוצי עמי, פזורי אפסיים, ופלגותיהם יחד כאחד יתלכדו. Who will give me outstretched arms? I want a hug. I want to reach my arms that would measure the length of the rainbows in the cloud, so I could embrace all the scattered of my people that are just dispersed to all the extremities, to all the extremes. Uplagoteyem yachad ke'echad yitlakadu. And all their different divisions and miflagot and parties, together as one, they will join together. All the different will join together as one. And I want to make my complaint heard על מלחמת דברים הבאים ברוב עניין ועושים לשונאים אוהבים גמורים ומרוב הבונים יהרס הבניין וכל המושגים הקלים יהפכו לחמורים. I want to complain about this war of words that is coming in such great abundance. Everybody just words, again, words, throwing words at each other. And they're making enemies. They're making lovers into enemies. Osim sonim oavim g'morim. It's making enemies out of those who are complete lovers. And from all of these builders, the building is going to be destroyed. And all the simple concepts are turned into heavy-duty, serious, everything it becomes heavy. אזעק חמאס על הטענות והתבעות שבאות בערבוביה ובמליצות מגוזמות שבשביל ההתרגשות תחסרנה הידיעות לאיזה דרך נפנה ומה הנה המגמות. I want to cry Hamas. I want to cry angrily against all the claims and demands that everybody's making on each other, that are coming in confusion and in exaggerated rhetoric. Melitzot meguzamot. Yet any exaggerated rhetoric going around in Israel and other places? Shebishvil ha'hitrakshut, that because of the great emotion and all the excitement, the agitation, techsarna hayediot. The facts, knowledge is lacking. No, but it's not, it's just emotion. We are lacking the ideas, the understanding to which leize derech nifneh, to which way we should turn. Uma heina amegamot, and what are our purposes? What are our aims? What are we to do? And then he sighs wearily. Ad matai nihye lokim bechesser vebeyeter velo nedar levaer hamidah hametzumtzemet ad madai narfik mimatara chetz vayeter ותוכחתנו בפינו תהיה מגומגמת. Until when will we be struck just in this culture of deficiency and excess? There's not enough, too much exaggeration and all of that. And we won't be able to clarify the midah hametzumtzemet, the balanced measure that doesn't go out of control, the metzumtzemet. Until when will we miss our mark? Narchik, we'll distance ourselves from our purpose, yet we'll overshoot our mark, and then tochachatenu befinu tiyeh megumgenet, and our capacity to rebuke, to critique, will be stammering. We'll be saying stuff about people, but what will be the problem? It'll be, now he says, what we have to learn, all of Israel, how to give tochacha. What's the main mitzvah? Hochiach tochiach et amitecha ve'lo tisna et achicha belevavecha. Rebuke your fellow, and do not hate them in your heart. So now he's giving a lesson to Israel. What is proper rebuke? Because he says we're all screaming at each other. Everybody's accusing everybody of everything, in which we see what's happening. It's very clear that is happening. Except for the many people, it's not. But unfortunately, the crazies have a lot of power and make a lot of noise. So what must we do? And this is the way of Israel to deal with societal issues. נדבר בשפה ברורה כל פלגותינו, הטענות שיש לכל כת וכת, ולא נגבב דברים להגדיל מלחמתנו, נדבר כהלכה, ולא נהיה טועים בפשט. Let us speak clearly, each group, and speak in a clear language, the complaints, the claims that each one has, each group has. What is it that disturbs you? What is it that disturbs you? What is it? Let's each one say in a clear language what their ta'ana is. ולא נגבב דברים להגדיל מלחמתנו. And we will not use our words to grow our war. We won't speak in such a way to just make the war larger. We'll speak clearly. Nidaber kehalacha. We'll speak according to halacha, the proper way, meaning we'll only say what we know. I mean, there's a halachic way to testify. Velo niyeh to'im b'pshat, and we won't make the mistake in just the very simple matters of how to talk. Because hata'ut b'pshat, this simple mistake, גורם צרות מרובות, והוא מביא במחנה ישראל מהומה גדולה, גורם ערבוביה וסותם הערובות ומחשיך גבולנו כשלושת ימי אפלה. הטעות בפשט גורם צרות מרובות. This error, the simple error, causes many sufferings and brings, מביא במחנה ישראל, Mehuma Gdola, and it brings into the camp of Israel a great tumult. Gorem irbuvia v'sotem aruvot. It causes confusion and blocks the openings. Umachshich gvulenu keshloshet yemei afela. And it darkens our borders, our region, just like the 3 days of darkness in Egypt. So here is where he's really saying, now, therefore, לכל המפלגות, לכל הרסיסים, שעליהם בני ישראל נשבר לשברים, לכל הראשים המנהיגים המרעישים, אלה במעשים ואלה בכתבים ומאמרים. To all המפלגות, לכל הרסיסים, to all the parties and all the fragments and shards, שעליהם בית ישראל נשבר לשברים, in which the house of Israel has been broken into pieces. לכל הראשים המנהיגים המרעישים, to all the leaders, the heads, the leaders who are making noise, the noisy leaders. אלה במעשים, these by their actions, ואלה בכתבים, and these by their writings, ובאמרים, and by their speeches. all the noisy leaders of all the parties who are stirring uproar. And so much of that goes on sometimes. So to all of these people, now Rav Kook says, hey, I want to say something to you guys. If I'm in the position of, well, he wasn't chief rabbi, he was a rabbi in Europe. I think he wasn't even, I don't think at this point he knew he was coming to Israel. No, I guess ultimately he did know, but he's just writing this to Israel. לכולם אבקש, אל נא תבואו בעננים, אל תפעילו בהמון חזיונות, הכוונה הברורה, אל תדברו דברים בעלי 70 פנים, דרשו רק את החסר לשא הפזורה. To all of you I ask, get out of the clouds. Don't darken the clear intentions with multitudes of fantasies, of weird visions. Don't speak words of 70 faces. Just seek whatever is missing for our scattered sheep. Dirshu rak et hachaser l'seh hapzura. Seek only what is missing, what is lacking for our scattered flock. Batuach ani וביטחוני חזק מאוד, שאם כל אחד ידרוש רק למלא חסרונות, אשר ימצא בעמנו הנודד נדוד, אז לא באנו לאלה הפזרונות. I am confident, and my confidence is very strong, that if each one would seek only to fill that which is lacking for our people who are wandering and wandering, if each one would seek to fill that which is lacking, we would not have come to all of these dispersions and scatterings. אם רק לבנות באמת יחלצו בנינו, לבנות לא להרס, לא לרמס ברגל, לחזק כל בדק אשר יירא במשכנותינו, הלא ישמח יעקב וישראל יגל. If only our builders would gird themselves to build, אם רק לבנות באמת יחלצו בנינו. לבנות ולא להרוס, לא לרמס ברגל, to build, not to destroy, not to trample underfoot. לחזק כל בדק אשר ייראה במשכנותינו, to strengthen every breach, every crack that appears in our dwellings and settlements. Then, הלא ישמח יעקב וישראל יגל. Will then not Jacob rejoice and Israel exult? That's as much as I'm going to read as what Rav Kook is saying to us now. Can you understand why I think this is relevant to? Yeah, right. It's quite extraordinary how he's got what this power, just everything he's describing here. It's really a trap that Israel has gotten into, and it's the Galut model. It's really what we're bringing in Galut, and then he says he goes into every different group where everybody can do what they really need to do. The last three verses of it. And then I want to read you a poetry of it. I'll do it really fast, but just to give us the whole thing. But finally, what he says is every person, this is the last two verses. Kol ish lechefetz levavo yelech v'yatzliach. Each person should follow the desire of their heart and go forth and succeed. Umitnuvot kapemu amem yeromemu. And from the work of our hands, we will raise our nation. כל אחד במקצועו רוח חיים יפיח. Everyone in their area, in their profession, will breathe in the spirit of life. בבנותו לו בית, הריסות עמנו יקוממו. And his building himself a home, the destructive places of our nation will rise, and each person building a home. And finally, ידע כל אחד לחבב ולייקר את ערך המקצוע של רוחו זרה, ואל יהין לנבל, לזלזל, אף לבקר את אשר רעהו שם לו מטרה. So let each one of us know to cherish and esteem the importance of that activity that is foreign to our spirit, but it is important to someone else, and do not dare revile, belittle, even criticize that which your fellow person has made their purpose, their life purpose. And then we can live in peace. Now, what I'd like to do, I played with the machine a little bit, and it gave me a number of translations, and I'm just going to read the first 13 verses and maybe the last three. I'm not, because it's a long poem, but I just want to, what we just read in page 40. Okay. A shofar to my lips, I lift my voice and cry. Who among my people hears, whose ears are still open and clear? I pour the bitterness within, I let my grievance rise. I sound my lament aloud to souls I hold most dear. To beloved souls, children of my exalted people, who are wandering, going astray in the field of life, to their terrible afflictions growing enormous as the sea, still swelling and still ascending to the very rim of the sky. Who will give me a voice like the thunder of the seas, that I may cry and still be heard to the earth's remotest bound? Let all the camps of my people hear, with all their multitudes, and all who turn towards them breach, answering to breach around. I guess that means it's some sort of just everybody's involved in their little group. Who will give me arms flung wide as the rainbow's span, stretching from end to end across the clouds' illumined arc? I will gather in the scattered of my people and all their exiled bands, groups, tribes, and bind their broken factions back into a single unit. I cry out against the war of words that is coming in endless waves, that are turning sworn enemies at times, that is turning sworn lovers into enemies in a breath, just by voice. And yet, through this crowd of because of all these builders, they're going to destroy the building, and the slightest little matters are going to become heavy with the weight of death. I'm crying out against the claims, the accusations, the demands that are coming in confusion and swollen, showy, exaggerated speech. For the sake of agitation, knowledge slips out from our hands. Which road are we to follow now? What goal are we to reach? How long will we be struck by lack and excess both at once, and never learn to name the measure bounded, just and plain? How long shall bow and arrow fly so far away from their mark, while rebuke upon our lips and falters weak and vain? So what we must learn to do is how to rebuke properly. Let all our camps speak clearly in a language plain and clean. the true claims each one carries, each party and each side. Let us not heap upon words to swell the warfare in between. Let us speak as truth requires, and in the plain sense abide. Because these errors in the pshat breed 1,000 needless wounds. It brings great tumult surging through the camp of Israel, breeds confusion, seals the windows, shuts the daylight out, and darkens all our borders like the plague of Egypt fell. And to all the parties and all the shards to which the house of Israel lies broken, split, and torn, to all the heads, the clamorous, the clamorous, noisy leaders, loud in acts or words, these by their deeds and those by their books and essays and speeches, their words, the newly born, they're putting out. To all of them, I say, do not come trailing clouds. Don't come in this. Do not obscure the clear intent with fantasies untold. Don't speak words with 70 faces turning every way. Just seek what is lacking for the scattered of our fold. And I know this, I'm confident, I know this strongly. If each one of us sought to fill that which is wanting, that which we find is wanting within our people who are wandering in all their wanderings, then we would not have been scattered into all these fragments all around. If only those who build would truly gather strength to build, not destroy, not to trample what is beneath, and to strengthen every breach they find in our dwelling still, then Jacob would rejoice again in Israel, breathe relief. So I really want to bless us that this become, it's a very deep understanding. It's like every time I return to this poem, and sometimes the craziness I see in the leadership of Israel, and then you see it in different ways. But anyways, we really need. It's very important guidance for Israel, and I bless us that we can really. Hopefully, the next generation will be able to bring this together in such a. This is the way of Israel, and not the way of the exile. And so may our learning and yearning bring immediate victory to Tzva Haganah Israel. There's another person reported killed today. And healing to all the wounded, comfort to all the mourners, and elevation of all the holy souls. And that the final vision of Bilam will come true. That's the ultimate, that's the good news in this. The war that we are now in is the war that Bilam is describing, that we will be victorious. So Baruch Hashem, but it doesn't make the pay. It's the level of suffering people are going through for this. So God, please, we know you can do miracles. It's now time. The return to Israel is actually the return also to miracles. So this would be a good time to show the entire world. Please, thank you. Venomar.
Amen, amen, amen.
Has anybody read that poem?